this computer. Hello, everybody. Hello, Freedom Team and Plexus Living Free. I'm Michelle Stuchel, Sapphire Ambassador, and I am so thrilled to welcome you to our Kona, Hawaii recap. And you are in for a treat. I remember sitting in your shoes, hanging on every single word that the Jewels would say, because I wanted to be with them in Hawaii. And we are here to tell you that you can be. And so you're going to be hearing from the leaders of this team. And I hope you have a pen and paper and you're ready to be inspired, because this is absolutely can be for you. And I'm going to turn it over to the beautiful Terry Richardson first.
Hey, y'all. I like how I'm first, the one that's always the scaredest. But so my biggest takeaway from this trip is jet lag is a real thing. It literally took me like 3 days and I still don't feel quite normal, but no, that is not my biggest takeaway. But my biggest takeaway is, y'all, first off, Hawaii is the most beautiful place I've ever seen. If you get on there and Google pictures of it, it does not do it justice. This was actually my third trip. The first trip I didn't get to go on just because of COVID. Second time we went to Mexico, and it was my first trip ever being anywhere that extravagant. And so I'll just say it. I was really focused on me the whole time, like, wow. And I was so grateful my team helped me get there, but I was just taking this whole trip in. But the third time around was fabulous, but I was almost, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer because it was great. I was almost sad, not enough to like not enjoy my trip, but always in the back of my mind, every single day, multiple times a day, I just kept thinking how much, I'll start crying, but how much I wanted my team there with me. I did not want to keep coming back every year alone. It was not a good feeling. I saw so many other Jewels there just taking their team pictures, and I had seen them the year before, and I just am seeing them multiply. And I'm just like, okay, listen, I got to figure this out. I got to figure out what it is they're doing and that I'm not doing. And so I just started thinking about, okay, how did I get here? How did I get to be where I'm at? And I started thinking, like, what things Christina did to help me get where I'm at. And it always, every single time, y'all, this is not the first time you've heard this, it goes back to vision and belief. If Christina didn't have rock solid belief in where she was going and what her life was going to look like, there's no way I'd be where I'm at all. She shared her vision. She poured belief in me over and over until I started believing in myself and really seeing like what my life could look like and what it should look like. And y'all, I promise you, I was not an easy case. She had to pull in reinforcements all the time with me, reinforcements meaning Brittany, but not one time did she think, oh my gosh, well, she might've said she was frustrated with me plenty of times, but she never gave up on me. She never said our personalities are too different, I can't coach her, or, maybe somebody else could coach her better. She kept on doing whatever it took to help me. Helping me try to find like the things that I needed. She would help dig and pull all the things out of me, trying to help me as much as she could so I would be successful. So if you want to be in Mexico next year, or if you want somebody from your team to be there with you, y'all, we have to be willing to do the same things. It doesn't stop with just you having vision and you having belief. You have to pass that belief and vision on to your team. And I do think that I do that, but I 100% know that I need to do that more. So that is something that I will definitely be focusing on. I'm really excited about, and I'm just excited about what it's going to bring, because I'm more determined than ever. Charles said it best in Hawaii. Like, this is not about us. It's about all the other people who are struggling with their finances, who are unhappy in their job, or the mama who wants to be a stay-at-home mom, or the retired couple who doesn't have any retirement. It's about them. And how can I help them? How can I get them where I'm at or even beyond? So just ask yourself, how can I use this opportunity to help change someone else's life like my leader, or like Christina has done for me, or like Michelle has done for me. It's our responsibility to figure out what each of our leaders need to grow and move forward if you're looking for a legacy business with 462 jewels like I am, because that is definitely my plan. So it has to be about them. That is my takeaway.
I love it, Terry.
Yeah, who's next? Who's after me?
Abby Taylor.
Yes. All right, y'all, it's Abby Taylor's turn.
Thank you, Terry. You kind of repeated a little bit of what I was going to say in the beginning, but I also was going to tell you guys that Hawaii was absolutely breathtaking. Yeah, I felt like I was in a movie the whole time. And the landscape was just so gorgeous and diverse, and you will absolutely 100% want to experience it for yourself. Because like she said, pictures just don't do justice. The water had like 100 different blue colors, but of course, when you take the picture, it looks like one color, but it's not. So day one was really pivotal for me. I remember walking down to breakfast, which was set up on the beautiful lawn in front of the pool and the trees and the ocean. It was so, so beautiful. And I just remember looking around at all the men and women sitting at all the white tables, eating their breakfast. And I remember thinking, wow, like every single one of these emeralds, sapphires, diamonds, everyone that I was looking at had worked so hard to get there. And that included me. I had worked so hard to get there. Because the truth is, you guys, it's hard work to hit a rank like this. It's hard work to lead a team. It's hard work to come back after your points drop. It's hard work to get out of your comfort zone and to overcome mindset challenges. It's hard work to be consistent and diligent. It's hard work to find childcare for your kids and make trip arrangements. But you know what, guys, it's the best work. It really is the absolute best work. And you want to know that hard, good work comes from us taking actions, right? And those actions that we take, that hard work, it becomes confidence and pride in yourself and a new love for yourself. It becomes living out your purpose and living out of your potential. This hard work, it becomes an answer to prayer for the people in your life. It becomes the freedom that you never knew that you wanted. It becomes the memories that you will make with your children. It becomes a recognition you never knew that you'd be given. It becomes easing the stress load for your spouse. And ultimately, you guys, the hard work, it becomes the legacy that you will leave. So the hard work really does become your future reality, and it is worth it. Guys, the future is so bright here at Plexus. Dreams are not just this distant, faint idea. They are real. They are just as real for you as they are for me, but you have to work for them. So being in Hawaii really solidified for me my role here at Plexus, being on this team, leading my own team. It made it so real for me, and I felt proud of all the hard work I had put in over the last 4 years. And you guys, it has been completely worth it. So next we have the beautiful April, my sister.
Thank you. So I had so many takeaways, and as y'all are talking, there's things popping up, but I'm going to stick to what I had because 3 minutes isn't a long time. So y'all know, being military, and I know many wives can relate, we don't have a lot of time with our husbands, right? It's kind of like ships passing in the sea. They're gone, they're deployed, they're TDY, they're gone because of late work hours, whatever it is. And so this is the second trip we've had where it's just so nice having that quality time, the kid-free time, and seeing him relaxed. My husband doesn't relax a lot. And so seeing him kicking back, going snorkeling, reading a book, I was like, oh, you do like to read. And just enjoying the fruits of our labor, right? Because y'all, our husbands sacrifice a lot, right, in this business. And so for us, being able to treat them and say, go do the snorkeling, or let's go on the excursion, or whatever it is just incredible. So that was huge for us this trip once again. And then also, y'all, the way our company treats us just always stands out to me, right? They always go that one step further, right? Just the details. We got to watch the luau from our balcony, just like be set up throughout the day. And y'all, this took all day from sun up. They were setting up so many people and like just all these intricate details to make it so beautiful and magical for us all. And y'all, it took them all night to take it down. And so I'm just thinking in my mind, like, oh my gosh, how much is this costing Plexus? And yet they do it for us over and over and over again. And in fact, I told Adam, I was like, you know what? I kind of want a wedding reception do-over. Hawaii, luau, all the things, right? Maybe for our 20 years. So you guys, I know we've all worked for different companies. I mean, there's a company I worked for, we didn't get anything for Christmas bonus, right? But this is a company that's here to stay, y'all. It's a legacy company. It isn't going anywhere. And in fact, we got to hear from Gene, and just to hear his heart, y'all, and he's definitely a family guy through and through. He kind of reminds me of Alec a little bit, and that just gave me a sense of peace of where we're headed. We are in such good hands, y'all, and it's going to be an incredible journey for all of y'all. So I am going to pass it on to Angela.
Thank you, April. That was awesome. And okay, so I'm so excited, y'all. Just been on cloud 100 since we've been back from Hawaii. This is my second time to go to Hawaii. I went when I was a kid. I've had a dream to go back ever since. My husband's first time. And you all, let me just tell you, you want to be on this next getaway coming up in Mexico. And I just wanted to tell you, this was the best vacation we've ever had. My husband told me the same thing. And I wanted to throw this out there before I drop a few tips. I've been on lifestyle getaways and trips with other companies, and there was no comparison, absolutely zero comparison. We were treated with value. I've never felt so much value from a company ever. And I've already felt that before this trip, but this just brought it to a whole nother level. Just the quality of how they invest in their people. This is the company. I'm telling you right now, this is the company. If you have ever wavered on that, absolutely. Hands down, I've never, ever had an experience like this. And so I've just been like telling everybody, oh my gosh, you want to know about this business? You want to jump in this now? Because that's how thrilled I am about this. And I want to take so many on my team with me next year. And I wanted to tell y'all this, absolutely you can be in Mexico next year. So who wants to be in Mexico next year? Decide right now. I want you to like say it in the comments. I want you to right now, even envision yourself. I was thinking, I want you to make a list after this call of who you want to be with you, of what you want to do when you're there. I want you to see yourself in Mexico. And y'all, brought my sombrero. I wanted y'all to feel the Mexican vibe. Okay. I've been there. I went several times as a kid and I absolutely love Mexico. And it is amazing. It's going to be like the top resort ever. It's going to be fantastic. You want to be there. But seriously, y'all, I'm not kidding. You've got to believe. And I felt like coming on here and telling you, number one is your mindset. First of all, make the decision. I'm going to be there no matter what. And you're going to give it to the Lord, but you're going to work your booty off to get there. You're going to do the action it takes to get there. And several tips are going to be given after me, I'm sure, to help you with that. There are things you can do. And there's a process that has to happen, right? But I did it in 11 months. The Lord helped me. There's many on here who I'm going to pass it to next who did it even quicker than me. There's many who've done it in 3 months or 4 months or whatever. You have plenty of time to get in Mexico if you just started. And so I wanted to tell you that there was an acronym that Alex said when we were there, and it was BACON. So I want you to write this down. BACON. B is for belief. You've got to believe in yourself, number one. So many diamonds I talked to when we were there, I asked them questions, and all of them were like, the hardest thing to overcome was believing in myself. I had to get my mindset on believing I could do this. You have to believe in the product. You have to believe in the company, the network marketing industry and the company, and you have to believe in yourself. So you need to do whatever it takes. You can get to that place of belief. Number two was activity. Get in activity or action. You've got to be doing the things that we tell you to do. And I know that you've got lots of coaching and training on that. And then C was commitment. You've got to make that commitment and decision now, like I said. O was, they said one plexus, but I actually liked others focused. Others focused. Putting others above yourself, how much that person next to you needs these products, how much that couple that you know that could use financial blessing, and have that drive you to helping those people around you. And the last one was never give up. Okay, do not quit. Decide right now you're going to be in Mexico. Envision yourself there, do the work, believe in yourself, and trust the process. And by the way, I got my Apple Watch in the mail today, y'all. Look how fast that was. I got my Apple Watch in, and I wanted to show y'all this because of how fast it is. You can still earn this too, by the way. All right, that's it. I'm going to pass it on to Kayleen.
Well, that's some fire. So thank you, Angela. Hawaii for me was such a gift. This was the first trip that I got to take my husband to, so his first Plexus experience. And, you know, there was some mindset behind that as far as bringing a pastor to an event where, you know, you just kind of want him to be able to be himself and be able to relax and not feel the pressure of, oh my gosh, I'm around a pastor, I need to be whatever. And it was one of the most enjoyable trips that we have ever been on. We called it our second honeymoon. Just enjoying this gift. And it was super hard earned, guys. It was super hard earned. And my husband was just so grateful. And he said, I am just so grateful for all that you have done so that this is possible. And truly to my team as well, like, we do not take this for granted in any way. And so that in and of itself was just an absolute gift. Being with our team was an absolute gift. Couple times Brittany had me and my husband join up for dinner, and that meant the world to us, just to have some one-on-one quality time. And then as well as the rest of the team, they just took us in, and it was just really a sweet, sweet trip. But some of the things that I walked away with from what I learned and what really impacted me most was the transparency and the vulnerability from our leadership. When we had some meetings, there were tears, and I was not expecting tears at all. And it came from Alec and Tarl and Jean. And guys, they got up front on stage and they thanked their wives. And the sacrifice of the spouse behind the scenes was such, I mean, people don't see it, but we know it. And we know it more for our husbands, but also they see it for their wives, and they honored their wives. And it was such a beautiful thing. And they did it with tears. I mean, the sacrifice was so real, but at the same time, that transparency and that vulnerability only got more of my buy-in in this company and in our leadership. And so to me, what stood out was, like, I need to be willing to be more transparent and more vulnerable, you know, with my audience and with my team to get their buy-in. You know, we don't need to expect perfection, but we do need to allow people to know who we are. And so that stood out to me a lot. The second thing that stood out to me was belief in our leadership. So I'm talking specifically about Brittany and Christina. I talked to so many diamonds that came to this getaway as emeralds and sapphires. And the reality of asking them so many questions, the reality that I came to, or the realization that I came to, was that we have got to focus on leadership development. It is developing leaders that's going to give us a long-term, foundational, strong organization. And so many people told me, I watch Brittany and Christina's trainings all the time. This was such a missing piece in my business. We have that. We have this every Monday night. We have this every book study. We have this on accountability groups. It is at your fingertips. And so I just want you to know what you have available to you. And this is what is going to give you a strong organization long term. And so that really spoke volumes to me as I pieced that all together. And then the last thing that stood out to me was, my belief in this industry and network marketing. We ate at a Subway, my husband and I, the last day, and there was a mama with a 2-year-old child bawling, tears streaming down her face the whole entire time that we were in this line. And this mama was the only person running this restaurant. And the guy behind me, he said, she's in here every day. She runs this store every single day. And that little baby is beside her every single day. Guys, I can stop what I'm doing to tend to my crying child and then pick back up in my business when I need to. Guys, what we have here, this would be a lifeline for this woman. And network marketing, people have a bad rap for it. But when you look at Subway, they're paying millions of dollars to all these incredible athletes or whatever. And then the owners of these organizations, they probably don't even know their employees' names, right? And so my heart and my belief just went through the roof in very subtle ways when we were in Hawaii. But I hope that this encourages you and also just fuels your belief in a really special way, because I fully believe that what we have here is available to each of you, and you can be in Mexico next year. Okay, pass it on to Christina.
Thank you, Kayleen. Y'all, I have no voice, so bear with me. And that was nice of you to say that, Kayleen, for real. I think sometimes when you get to be so close to certain leaders and systems, and you just kind of forget that this is not what it's like everywhere. My husband and I talk about that with our kids all the time. Like, do they know how good they've got it? Because it's really all they've ever known. But I had many people stop me and say, same thing, Kayleen, like, hey, thank y'all for opening up your training. Like, we don't have access to that kind of stuff. So we learn and grow so much. And I mean, there's a lot of teams, you guys, who take our team's trainings, and that's how they run their teams week to week. Like, they watch our trainings together as teams. And I don't say that to brag. I do think sometimes it's important to take a step back and realize, like, oh my gosh, we have front row seats to some people who are really working hard to become better so that we all get better. Because as leaders improve, so do teams. So that was nice of you to say that, Kayleen. Okay. So first of all, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this. These calls have not always been my favorite. Let me tell you why. I would get on these calls. The first PS took me 4 years, over 4 years, actually. No, 3 years, over 3 years, 3.5 years to go Emerald. So for 3 years, I would hear calls like this, and I would have to fight thoughts of, will that ever be me? Will that ever be me? What is so different about them than me? Why can't I figure it out? Why can't I figure it out? And I would have to battle these thoughts the whole time that I'm listening to them. I would have to battle thoughts of like, well, good for you. Glad you got to take your husband on a second honeymoon. So I'm just being totally honest. I would have to battle these thoughts because desperately I wanted it. And I was working so hard. We're talking years. So I know sometimes I have conversations with people who are a month or 2 or 3 or 6 into their business, and they feel like they're just working so hard. Y'all, I'm telling you, I was working hard for years and years and years. And so I would get on these calls and I'd be like, oh my gosh, am I ever going to get there? And what I want you to know, here's one of my favorite parts of this whole trip was seeing the 85 new earners walk across the stage together. There were almost 100 people who ranked Emerald this year. So when people say there's only the people at the top, bull, the top is always changing. There were almost 100 new people who earned it this year. Not those who got in early, not those who've been doing this for 10 years. They got there this year. Maybe they've been building 1 year, maybe they've been building 5 years, maybe they've been building 8 years. They would all tell you it has been worth it. Okay. So number one, 85 new jewels there. There will be that again next year. There will be people who have made the decision watching this year's trip to get there. Some of them will make it next year. Some of them will make it the year after. But what I want you to know is it's worth it. Are you okay if this takes you 3 years to earn it? Like in your heart, can you become okay with that? Can you become okay if it takes you 2 years? The timeline's not really always up to us. What we can control is our efforts and our willingness to learn and grow and achieve. The rest is all, I mean, there's a lot of things at play here. When you get a business that's that large, there are a lot of things at play. But what you can decide is to decide. You can decide that no matter what, you will see this through. You will get there. And I'm telling you, it's worth it. So 85 new jewels. Okay. Second of all, I have been to an Emerald Extravaganza in Mayakoba. We went there last year. You guys, we practically begged and pleaded to get the trip there again. So I'll tell you, when I first heard Mexico 2 years ago, I think all of us were like, huh? Hawaii, Mexico. I've always loved Mexico. But listen, there ain't really no Mexico like Mayakoba, Mexico. And I just want you to know it is unreal. Unlike anything that you could think. The service in Mexico, I'm telling you, it blew me away. The service in Mexico even superseded the Portugal experience we had with just the top 50 earners. It was unbelievable. So awesome. Hashtag there. Okay, now for the nuts and bolts. What's working well? I asked this question probably 500 times. It was asked, we had a prayer work meeting with some other top level leaders. And we asked this question, what's working well? What's working well? What's working well? And I'm going to hurt your feelings here, because what's working well for the people who are earning this trip is what a large majority of you are avoiding. Ready? 3-way calls and events. Every single time when I said, hey, what's working well in your business that got you here? 3-way calls and events, 3-way calls and events, 3-way calls and events. Not one time did somebody say, what's working well? Increase IPA. Okay. Do I think increased IPA is important? Yes. But if you're not willing to do what is the right thing with the people that you're recruiting, then your circumstances aren't going to change. So people will say, well, I would do a 3-way call. I just don't know what to say on it. Listen, when your energy and your passion is there, the words, the scripts, the what do I say takes care of itself. Angela, the energy she had just then, you guys, it doesn't matter what the heck she says to somebody on a 3-way call, because passion and energy create momentum. And if you're excited about what you've got to offer somebody, like what Kayleen said about that lady at Subway, if you're excited and truly believe that you have something that could change someone's life, the words will take care of itself. So what's working well? 3-way calls and events. And here's how you get somebody on a 3-way call. Be excited. Be excited. Kayleen, girl, I am so pumped that you're getting started with Plexus. Listen, I know it's going to change your life. The first thing I like to do with my people when they get started is pop them on a phone call with my friend Christina. She's an expert at these products and helping people get great results. We want to make sure you understand the benefits of your membership, how to get the most out of Plexus, and we want to make sure that there's, no questions that we're leaving unanswered. When do you got 15 or 20 minutes? We can make that happen. I'm available this day or this day. Which one works? But guys, some of us are unwilling to do it because it feels very scary. But what you've got to ask yourself is, do I want things to change? If I want things to change, then I'm going to have to be willing to do what almost every single top level leader that I talked to this week said is working well. What's working well? 3-way calls and in-person events. What's working well? 3-way calls and in-person events. You guys, listen, I started having in-person events as a silver. I would host a sip and see. Sometimes no one came. That was okay. When I had 1 or 2 people on my team, I would start hosting training events. Sometimes it was a Zoom, sometimes it was in person. I didn't wait for somebody else to do it for me. If you've got a new join, you should be knocking on your sponsor's inbox going, hey, I've got a new join. Christina says 3-way calls are working well. Can you please help me? Can you please help me? I really want to create some workers. As an upline, you should be wanting to create workers for your workers. You want to keep a long-term stable team, help them create workers. It's got to be a focus. So that's what's working well. That's what I took away from Hawaii. Here's why I was excited about it. Because not one time were those top level leaders like, I don't know what's working well. Like, luck would have it, here I am. Or like, oh, I just rolled the dice and it worked out. It was very strategic what they decided to do. And they decided to engage in this process for an extended period of time. And that excites me because these are things that I can control. These are things that I can control. And these are things that I can control with my people. And so I can tell you right now, my focus, what will determine the people who watch the trip at home this year versus those who will go with me next year are those who are going to be willing to lean into this process. because this is where I'm going to be giving my time and my attention to those kind of people who want to grow. So I hope that you guys will come to Mayakoba with us. It's a fantastic trip. I had a great time in Hawaii. I left it all on the field. So yeah, it was a fun time. Glad to be home. All right, I think next is Michelle. Yeah,
No, I think it's Brittany.
my bad.
Okay, well, it's hard to follow all of those Jules and Diamonds, but I'm just gonna echo everything everybody said here. So whenever I watched Jules go on that Hawaii trip for the very first time, when I first started my business, I was like, everything about network marketing was new to me. Like I didn't understand how it worked. It was all uncomfortable. Like the fact that we had a comp plan that was generous, but then they would give us like contests and prizes and stuff on top of that just blew me away. So, and then seeing people go on this luxurious trip that they were saying anybody could earn, and they made it sound so doable. I mean, that just was baffling to me. And I remember, like Michelle said at the beginning, like I remember sitting where you're at right now thinking, like, I wonder, like I was hanging on the Jules every single word. And then like Christina said, wondering, could that ever be me? And the first time I watched them go on that trip, a lot of them I knew had joined around the same time I had. And so I definitely was hanging on their every word, but I decided I was going to go for it. I was then a senior gold. First time I watched Jules go to Hawaii, I was a senior gold, and I decided, you know what? I'm going all in. I'm going to do it. My team had a little bit of momentum happening at that point. Like I was feeling a little confident because I had just created my very first business builder, and she went fast start gold. And so I was super excited about that. And I was starting to dream and think like bigger. And it was thrilling and also fun and also scary. There was definitely kind of like a fear of like, what if I don't make it? But really I kept thinking, well, what if I do? What if I could do it? Is it really possible? So I just decided I was going to work for it. And what the Jules would say over and over and over, it was literally the same thing. Just kind of like what you've heard here tonight. Like a lot of it is just overlapping, but they would say, first of all, be consistent. Every single one of them would say, be consistent. You want to be there next year? Be consistent. Treat your business like a business. And they would say, get out of your comfort zone. If something feels hard or uncomfortable, do it. Do it scared. You just got to be willing to get out of your comfort zone. That's what you have to do if you want to grow. And then they would say you have to work hard. And I was like, well, I'm willing to do those things. And so I did. That's what I did. So I guess my question for you tonight is, how hungry are you for this trip next year? And how can you tell if you are hungry enough to actually do what it takes to get there? Well, first of all, you're going to go do what you've heard everybody say tonight. If Christina says what's working is three-way calls, then you're going to figure out how to do three-way calls. If you're sitting there thinking, what's a three-way call? Then you would get into Team Page and type in the search box, three-way call, and you would figure it out. You would just do whatever it took to figure it out. If you didn't know what a three-way call was, you'd go watch some training videos. If you were scared because you didn't know what to say, you would write down the script, and when you get on the phone, you would read it word for word. Can I tell you that's what I did? My first three-way calls. I'm pretty sure I was one of the first people in the company to be doing three-way calls. I didn't know anyone else who was doing that, and I only did it because I heard Sarah Robbins say you need to do three-way calls. And so I wrote down a script. I was nervous as all get out. I didn't know what to say. So I just thought, okay, I guess I'll share my story and then maybe just try to connect with the person and see if this is, right for them. And I read the whole thing. But guys, after I did it 20 times, I threw the piece of paper away. And then I realized that after the girl that I was doing that for hit Fast Start Gold, then I was like, okay, I guess I don't need that paper. I guess what I'm saying is working. Okay. There's videos about it. You can figure it out. It's all figure outable. If you're hungry, you're going to start reaching out to your dream teamers and your chicken listers. And you're not going to let fear of what people think hold you back. If you're hungry, you are going to be willing to learn something new. Master a skill. You know how to recruit people, but don't know how to get people working the business. It's a skill anybody can learn. If you are doing all the things, but still feel like you're not getting results, it's all figure outable. If you're hungry, you're gonna figure it out. You're gonna ask good questions. You're gonna find the resources. You're gonna find somebody who can answer questions or help you figure it out, but you'll figure it out. Okay. And you're gonna take ownership and you'll do whatever it takes to master the skill. If you are hungry, then you're going to be doing things that get you out of your comfort zone, such as hosting events live, in person, getting up in front of people and talking and presenting passionately the way Angela did, or the way Abby did, or Kayleen, enthusiastically about our products and about our opportunity. Guys, when I heard Christina talking about be excited, you know who I thought of? Also was Katie Wiggins, because I talked to her earlier today on a call. She has several people going for silver this month that she has personally enrolled. And she said she's been getting on the phone with people and she just acts like it is the best day of their life that they just order their products. That's excitement. That's enthusiasm. That's how you duplicate. Okay. So gonna do something that gets you out of your comfort zone, and you need to do it every day. Guys, that I've heard, I don't know this for sure, but I have heard that this trip costs the company about $10,000 per earner. You want to go on a trip that costs that much? What kind of work do you think you have to do to deserve a trip that luxurious? What do you think? What kind of value you need to be producing for the company for them to want to send you on a trip that costs them that much? Guys, companies have choices about where they put their advertising dollars. And in network marketing, their advertising dollars don't go to big TV endorsements and celebrity endorsements and things like that. They go to their ambassadors. That's where the advertising dollars go. When we go on these training trips, it's a business trip. That's marketing for the company. Guys, that's some really good marketing that we get to benefit from. Okay. And this year, my family got to benefit. I got to take 4 of my 6 children on this trip with me. And so that was also super special. So companies have choices. Make sure that you're putting the work in, learning the skills, getting out of your comfort zone. Those are things you do if you are hungry to earn it, and you can earn it. And then one last thing, when Christina said, kids not knowing how good they got it because this is all they know. I just want to add, whenever I took Grace, my 11-year-old daughter, to Portugal, we flew first class in pods overseas to Portugal. And it was her first flight ever. And so when we flew main cabin to Hawaii, well, it's all she had to compare it to. She's like, yeah, mommy, you were right. Main cabin's a lot different than first class. I'm like, yeah, you think? I think it would have cost us like $50,000 to fly all of my kids first class. But anyways, so that was all she had to compare it to. But yes, I think they do know how good they got it, because my kid, the ones I took with me this year, they don't know anything before Plexus. All they've seen is my mama does Plexus since they were either toddlers or not born yet. And so they've watched me earn this trip year. That was my seventh, I think, trip, or 8th, I think 7th. They've watched me go to Hawaii many times. And so to be able to take them, when every single year they want to go so bad, it was definitely special. Okay. It was also stressful, but that's a topic for another day. It was also special. So, and last thing, I promise I'm shutting up, but this is just funny. Me and Christina kept stopping to talk to people as we're walking through the way at the resorts. Like every 5 seconds we'd stop and say, hey, or somebody stop us. And my daughter Grace goes, Mama, you and Miss Christina are like a jagged fingernail on a silk blanket. Y'all get caught up every 2 seconds. Okay, that's all I got. Michelle, it's your turn.
Well, I don't know how to follow a jagged fingernail comment, but that was fantastic. Hawaii. This is my 3rd trip to Hawaii, my first trip with Plexus. And Stooch and I went to Hawaii for our honeymoon 18 years ago. And I can 100% say that this was like a second honeymoon for us. And like everyone on here said, Hawaii is like, the pictures don't do it justice. Like, imagine the most beautiful place And then imagine pixie dust is sprinkled on everything. So the sunshine is brighter, the water is bluer, the fruit is sweeter, the flowers are more beautiful. But let me tell you what doesn't have pixie dust on it. Us. Not one of us that went on this trip have pixie dust on us. We have insecurities. We have limiting beliefs that we've overcome. We have fears. We just decided to keep going. We decided to not quit. We had questions. Will that ever be us? But we just had the audacity and the belief, or someone behind us pushing us like wind to say that you can do this. This can be for you. And so we just kept going. Hawaii has pixie dust on it. We do not. You are just like us if you decide to make it. I saw every personality type, every Enneagram number, every age, every hair color, every body shape. Every option there. I saw it. So whatever your limiting belief is, you have the opportunity and the ability to choose what you are thinking. And it's got to start with your decision, because you can be there too. And let me tell you, it's worth it. Just like everybody on this call has said, and it's not just for the trip. Can I tell you what's really worth it? I don't know if any of you saw my post this morning. My husband and I started marriage counseling 3 days before we started this trip. 2 weeks prior, huge blow up, involved our children, really messy, root issues that we've been dealing with for 18 years came up. You know what's worth it? The personal growth that I've done as a 50-year-old woman, so that I can now not be emotionally constipated and now have the marriage of my dreams, because I'm finally being who I am in freedom, getting help, communicating my needs. And I was the problem. But who I am and my marriage is worth it. Going on a second honeymoon with my husband and having the best time in every sense of the word was worth it. You know what else is worth it? My daughter's looking at my life and saying, Mom, you're showing us what's possible. You're showing us how to dream. You're showing us what hard work is. Mom, you're showing us that we can do anything. That's what they have said to me. No freaking lie. You know what else is worth it? Showing other people what can be, like Angela and Kayleen and so many people have said, that there is more for you. And I'm not just talking about money, but who you are becoming, the legacy, the impact, what you can do with your life. You can have impact. You know what's really worth it? Hearing the Lord say, well done, good and faithful servant. I have given you gifts and talents to steward. I've put people in your path that are praying for relief, that they don't know another way. They keep popping prescription pills. I heard about another person just today. They can't get any relief. They're sick as a dog, and you may have the answer to their issues. You may have the answer to the fact that they can't afford travel ball, or they're looking at Christmas and they're saying, how in the fill in the blank are we going to do it this year, because bananas cost $100? And stewarding what God's given you well, and hearing him say, well done. I've given you lots of gifts and you use them well. Well done. That's worth it. The trip, icing on the cake. Legacy and impact, changing our worlds. That's what's worth it. So let me ask you, is a changed life worth it? Is showing your children and leaving a legacy worth it? Is changing your marriage worth it? Is taking something good and not settling for good, but going after great? Is that worth it? 100% yes. 100% yes. Listen, friends, it's time to stop playing small. It's time to pick up your eyes. We went hiking a lot. We hiked almost every day. And when we would hike along the beach, there's rocks and coral, lava rocks. And a couple times I turned my ankle. And so I would look down, especially as I walked around the coast. But as I was looking down, every now and then I would look up. And as clear as daylight, I would just see, I must have taken 5 million pictures of the coast because it was so stunningly beautiful. Friends, stop looking at the rocks in front of your feet that you're afraid to stumble on and get your eyes up. Look at what is in front of you. Look at the beauty. Look at the vastness. Look and see what is there for you. Because if you keep looking down, wondering if you're going to stub your toe, you're going to miss the whole thing. Get your eyes up and see, because that is a whole lot more impressive than the rock that's in front of you. Because Mexico is waiting, and then Hawaii is waiting after that, and legacy is waiting after that. Well done, good and faithful servant is waiting after that. You can. And I cannot wait to see to see you pick that up and run. Because truly, it's not about you. It's about them. I hope you're going to be there with us next year, because you can be. Thanks everybody for your time. We love you. Have a great night.